One of my Palestinian friends has just sent me the interview or just the conversation between Piers Morgan and Bassem Youssef. I was actually really impressed because usually I don't feel like Piers is giving the Arab side, the Palestinian side, enough credit and enough place to speak. And I feel like he purposefully chooses to bring into the studio more controversial Palestinian representatives, and he doesn't really like to bring in people who are for peace or see like a more positive outcome of the situation. So when I saw Pierce having like a civil conversation with Bassem Youssef, it really made me happy as someone who thinks that healthy dialogue is a good thing, and I don't necessarily agree with Piers Morgan's politics, but I enjoyed watching the conversation. I agreed with a lot of what Bassem was saying, but I also have some criticism over what he said, and I would like to break it down. So, first of all, if you didn't watch the interview, I recommend you go ahead and watch it. It's pretty good. So, first of all, Bassem was talking about how the Israeli Palestinian conflict is based on like European anti Semitism towards Jews and how the Christians in Europe just kept expelling Jews and kicking them out and exiling them. And basically, there was no other choice other than Jews to rebuild Israel. So I would like to clarify a few things. First of all, Jews were also ethnically cleansed out of Muslim countries. My family, for instance, was um, pushed out of Uzbekistan, which wasn't Uzbekistan back then, but whatever. My mom was born in the USSR, in a place that we call in our community Bukhara, which is the remnants of the Emirate of Bukhara, which was a Muslim emirate, as the name suggests. I actually find it really funny when people on TikTok accuse me of being white because I heard Persian growing up, the very specific dialect that people use in Central Asia, which is the Tajik dialect. I can actually curse like hell in that dialect. I can't speak it, but I can curse away. Like, trust me. So I always find it really funny when people call me white because I never saw myself as white growing up with that culture around me. But anyways, one of the things about um, being a Bukhari Jew is that my family suffered from blatant anti-Semitism from the Muslim community in Uzbekistan. They were always harassed. There are horrific stories that I grew up um, about, like Jewish performers that lived in the Bukhari community that had to perform for their Muslim neighbors and then would be beaten up instead of being paid. Like a lot of horrific stories, and Jews throughout the years were very, very scared in Bukhara. They were very scared from the Muslim community. We actually, according to my grandfather, the only reason why we ever landed in Central Asia was because a caliph of Baghdad gave my family as a gift to the Emir of Bukhara. So basically, we were just given as a gift, and that's how we ended up in Central Asia. And the thing was that there was a tradition in my family that whenever a new couple would be formed, like two people would get married, they would move to the land of Israel. And it's something that my community has been practicing for at least 6 generations. So I have a lot of ancestors buried in Jerusalem, and there are even a Bukhari neighborhood in Jerusalem, literally called the Bukhari neighborhood. Um, So, like, my community definitely has roots in Israel, but we were driven out by Islamic people. We weren't driven out by European anti Semitism, and that is also true to Jewish communities in the Maghreb. It's true for Jewish communities in places like Egypt and a bunch of other places. So it's not a European problem, it's just a Jewish problem. We suffered from anti Semitism and we were expelled, and even during the times that we lived happily with our Muslim neighbors, we had to pay the jizya, which, if you don't know, it's a tax for being Jewish. And the way you gave the tax was to kneel to the Muslim ruler in the middle of the town to show that you are subordinate to him. And basically, the tax is for thanking the ruler for being tolerated. So, again, not a European problem. As you can see nowadays in the United States, a lot of the Afro American community is very anti Semitic. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And anti Semitism is not exclusive to Europeans. Moving from that, another thing that really bothered me with Bassem's interview is that he doesn't see any hope because he views Israel as inherently racist. Now, Israel does have problems of racism, not only towards Muslim Arabs, but also towards Jewish Arabs and Christian Arabs. The racism definitely exists, and it's something that people like me try to dismantle. Because my dad is not Bukhari, my dad is a European Jew, I have a European last name, and I pass as a Jew. Uh, I pass as an Ashkenazi Jew. Not to certain groups, but most people would just view me as an Ashkenazi until I start to cuss, and then everyone realizes that I'm not. So I have to go through the racism of like always passing as, you know, the elite group and trying to still remain authentic to my identity, to my full identity, and being mixed raced. Even though both of my parents are Jewish, still I'm very mixed and I have to like deal with that. But moving forward, one of the most racist groups, like not groups, one of the, one of the most racist parties in Israel was a party that I'm a member of today. And they were especially racist towards Arab Jews, which means Jews that came from places like the Maghreb, which is Morocco, Tunisia, etc., Algeria, and towards like Yemenite Jews, Ethiopian Jews, etc. And the thing is that nowadays, this is one of the only parties that has like leftist representatives that are Arab Jews, but they also have members of the party that are Palestinian and identify as Palestinian, such as the journalist Ibtisam Marana, who I adore. She's one of my favorite people. So I think that the viewpoint that Israel is inherently racist and cannot be fixed, and therefore there could not be peace. I'm really uncomfortable with that assertion. I believe that as Israelis, we try to do better, we grow, and we develop as a group. And I do believe that one day, I genuinely believe that there would be peace. Thank you for listening to me rambling about this subject. And if you have any questions, write them down in the comments and I'll try to answer to the best of my ability.